Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to ZoomIN 86, our virtual get together. The session today is called Reinventing Mental Wellbeing. Mental and emotional well being is as important as physical well being. There is an anonymous quote: just when the caterpillar thought the world was ending, he turned into a butterfly. We have with us Anviksha T. Jain. Hi, Anviksha. Welcome to ZoomIn, who is going to be
Thank you,
sharing
Sanjana.
with us ways of bouncing back, of ways of healing ourselves from the pain, from the anger, from the anxiety, the illness which some of us have suffered or most of us have suffered, and ways of reinventing ourselves with positive thoughts, action, help, and support. Anviksha is a senior mediator and lead psychologist at TAG, the Alternate Dispute Resource ADR group. She is the founder of Sakhiri, an NGO which is working for betterment of women and children. She's also a posh resource for Ministry of Women and Child Development. She has authored and co-authored numerous articles on mental health and well-being and has been conferred awards like the Best Mental Health CR and the Best Mental Health and Social Activist. Anviksha, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanjana.
Also a research scholar at IIT Delhi, where she's doing research on understanding meditation psychology and meditation practices based on the Dharma Shastra. Anviksha, we would love to hear more about what you're researching on, perhaps during the course of this evening. Um, and Viksha is also a certified art therapist. Again, something you can share a little bit more about during the course of this session. Um, Martin Luther King said, if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. Views on that.
Sorry, I was lagging. Was it? Sorry, Sanjana, I lost you there.
Okay, I said there's a quote by Martin Luther King which says, if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. And if you can't walk, crawl. But by all means, keep moving. So I just wanted, before we start getting deep into mental well being, your views on this saying. Because I thought it was all about, resilience and reinventing oneself. So I wanted to hear your views on it.
Thank you, Sanjana. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity, and thank you for having me on Zoom in again. I'm always glad to be back. This is home. This is our platform. So thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so
that.
much for
And
that. Right.
like you rightly said, yes, I think this quote, kind of embodies what we're trying to say today. Reinvent and, keep moving ahead, re-engineering. That is what is going to be the mantra, I think, going forward. And one of my favorite quotes in general that I keep telling people is the only way once you hit rock bottom, the only way is the way up. So, so if any of us is feeling that, we have kind of are at the lowest in our lives, please remember that this is it. The only way you can go, the only way you can now go is the way up, right? So you can only get ahead and move ahead in life. So you've hit what was supposed to be, the rock bottom. So yeah, that is what I feel, and you've absolutely summarized it absolutely well. So thank you for that.
Wonderful. So, we've all been and are going through the COVID pandemic, and we've all had our ups and downs, and we've been through tough situations. What would you say has been the biggest learning that we've had through this pandemic, and something which we should hold on to so that, going forward, it is a lesson for us, something to remember?
I think, Sanjana, the biggest lesson that we have learned as individuals is the power of the human DNA, the goodness inherent in us, and that relationships are paramount and most important, right? When the second wave had hit all of us, anybody who's sitting here, and I can vouch that without even knowing, some of you personally, nobody would have left any stone unturned to help a person in need. Whether you knew the person, whether you did not know the person, whatever it was, we all tried our best to, get medicines, to get oxygen cylinders, whatever it was. So deep down, we're all, good human beings. We have that good DNA. We just let situations and, other peripheral things overpower it, overshadow it. So I think if we believe in humanity, if we trust in each other as people and as friends, we have a long way to go. No amount of power, no amount of money, no amount of powerful connections could do anything at that point in time, right? It was only through the sheer determination and our coming together as communities is where kind of pulled us through that time for most of us, I would say. Some of us had losses which were terrible in terms of personal losses and professional losses, but even with that, we stood by each other as a community. So one lesson I think we don't need to forget is, now that the pandemic is expected to become an endemic, uh, let's not go back to the earlier normal. Let us accept this new normal, and let us accept, be more open to people. Let us be more open to trusting each other. Let us be more open to relationships, and let us be more open to communities, is what I would say.
I totally agree with you. I think, and especially Vasant Vihar community during the
Yeah,
pandemic, we had lots of, people. I mean, I don't want to take names because they know who they
yes,
are. So many people were there day and night helping each other out within the community, and also
true.
wherever one could help. So actually that just kind of reinforces the feeling of being part of one brotherhood. So that's actually a very very positive takeaway from the pandemic which we've had. Again, we've had our shares of up and down, and it's difficult to stay positive in a situation. I mean, it's difficult to stay positive. What do you think, and how do you think positive? I mean, we can still remain positive in spite of, the pain and the suffering, the frustrations which we have been through.
Uh, we have all, like you said rightly, Sanjana, have gone through some sort of, loss. These 2 years have been tough on everybody. Some people have, dealt with it, in on professional fronts or personal front, whatever it was. It has been tough, and the baggage that we've all kind of accumulated during this time period is going to, I think, last a very, very long time. So while it's tough to stay positive, if done in smaller steps and if done consistently and if practiced consistently, I would say as an everyday basis, we will slowly dilute the negative baggage that we have acquired during the pandemic time and build a new reinforced energies in us. As we move ahead in the talk, I'd be willing to, share some, to be sharing some tips and tricks, etc., with all of you here as to what is it that we can do to build a positive thinking, that we can practice on a daily basis, and how we can tackle it. But the idea, like for your question, the answer to it is that it has to be continued efforts, sustainable efforts, and smaller efforts and tasks every single day. It is not something that we can do as a lump sum activity, for, let's say, we are going to be doing it for 2 months or 3 months together. That is what makes it, kind of fall flat. So we need it to be sustainable. continuous and smaller efforts for our positive thinking, and that is what is going to bring about a positive mindset change.
Um, you know, we have many elders who are part of ZoomIN and who have been viewing, you know, they have been our main audience. And for them, they've been locked away. Not in a sense locked away, but in many a ways locked away because you haven't been able to interact with
Hmm.
your friends, family, with the fear always there, at the back of your mind. So for them, I think loneliness has been one of the main problems where, you are just, you are unable to do most things which you would normally do.
Hmm. Right.
For them, how would, I mean, what would your suggestion be to overcome or, address this problem?
Uh, Sanjana, and this I say with all humbleness, not for only the women who are facing loneliness, or elderlies who are facing loneliness or any such issue. Uh, I think the key to positive thinking is this one word: arise. Uh, it's a very simple word. We use it every day. And the moment you say arise, what does it typically bring to ourselves? It's a feeling of, being awake. But if I break it down for you, we should practice arise in our daily lives. So, what does that mean? A stands for acceptance, right? Let us accept the situation the way it is. Is there something that, uh, that could not have been? Is there something that could have been? Right? There's hardly any point kind of, thinking about it. Yes, the COVID has, pushed us all in our, zones or cocoons, but this is what it is. We can't really step to move out. Acceptance is the first key. The second thing that we can do from arise is reflect. What is it that we can do differently? What is it that we can do, probably another step that we can take to do in this situation? If I'm feeling lonely, if I can't go out to meet my friends, or if I can't go, or my children can't fly down all the way from the US to meet me, are there smaller communities that I can probably mix with within my hometown? Are there, children, let's say, of, people around my neighboring areas that I can call over, right? So what is it that I can do differently so that, I get out of this situation that I am in, right? Third, being involved. And when I say involve, I mean involve positively. Now, when you say involve positively, one way is to kind of, call up the children, and, or you call up your friends, you call up your parents. Oh, I can't come. What can I do? I'm feeling so helpless. The other way is to have an interaction with them, right? And involve with the situation and look for solutions. So when we are doing that, you also become a stakeholder to the solutions that are being offered, right? What is, if you can't come right now, let's say, your parents can't fly down to meet you, probably you can go out to see them, right? So things like that. And the involvement has to become positive. It cannot be in the form of, oh, we can't do this. It has to be in the form of, oh, we can try this.
Right.
We'll see, let's see. It has to be backups, like they always say, keep a plan B ready, but there are 626 letters in the alphabet, we all say. So why just plan B? Let's try a plan C. Let's try a plan D. Let's try a plan E. Something at some point will work out, but we have to be open to possibilities. So that is what I mean when I say involve, and involve positively. Let's look for solutions together, but we have to also kind of, look for them in a positive manner. S in this arise for me stands for sharing. Share your thoughts. Sometimes we are so cocooned in our own thoughts, we feel that, sharing our thoughts with our friends, family, etc., is going to burden them, right? We also feel that, they may not feel anyway, they're sitting so far, unko choti choti cheezein bata ke kya pareshan karna. No, that's not what it is. Sharing thoughts not only brings a feeling of closeness, a feeling of association, it also, creates a channel of communication, right? And which is a positive reinforcement. Two heads, like we say, are always better than one. So sharing thoughts is always better. I'll give you a very small example over here. A lot of times what happens is that we may be, let's say, be in conflict, right? With a friend or a professional partner or whoever it is. Now, what do we typically do? We keep it to ourselves, right? We don't want to share it with the person concerned. We don't want to tell them that, listen, this is what is irking me. We go about the world trying to, look for a solution, but not with that person.
Mm-hmm.
What is the correct way, right? So it kind of builds a negativity in your own self because you're, building on that one thing, one after the other. We keep on building negatively on that. And also when we are spreading it out, when we're talking to, different people about it, everybody's views and, perspectives are different. So, we're also kind of spreading that negativity out. Whereas the correct way is to go up to that person and resolve that conflict or to resolve that problem with the person involved, right? So it was a very small example that, we can do that. So, and by the way, just, let me just, put it over here. If, so this is a way of taking things forward, resolving your conflicts, share your thoughts, share your feelings, talk it out. And if at any point you do feel that you can't do this conflict resolution by yourself, by all means, come to us at TAG, the Alternate Dispute Resolution Group. Me and Prachi would be very happy to help you with that. But, like I said, these are all little things that we can do. Sharing thoughts, that is why it's extremely important for people to communicate. And then, of course, encourage. Just don't encourage yourself. Encourage yourself to get out of your safe space. Encourage yourself to move ahead in life and also encourage others to move along with you. The moment it's an encouragement is a very positive quality. The moment you encourage a small child to do well, the moment you encourage a little girl who's studious in studies, you encourage her, beta, you do well, you automatically get involved positively with that person, right? So all your energies become positively channelized. So give encouragement to others to be able to receive that and encourage yourself, move ahead in life. I am in my safe zone. I don't want to probably go out and, for a cup of coffee. But what is it that I can do? Probably I'd be comfortable going to a park in an open space in this COVID scenario. Let me go and, sit in the park for half an hour, 25 minutes, absorb my surroundings. Let me bring that encouragement back with me to the house. So if we follow this little arise, in our daily life,
Right.
you are, awake every single day. And, you can do it very positively by, I'm not even saying by, doing it all together. 5 to 10 minutes of practicing it daily. One very simple trick that we, do in positive psychology very often is, we always tell that let us not react to situations. If
Right.
there are negative situations in life, respond to them. You have to respond to them. But how do you respond? Take to us, if you're a working mother or if you are a working professional, in your head, fix 2 hours a day in which, in your head, you will say, I will not react harshly to anyone in these 2 hours, no matter
Certain
what happens.
times very difficult to do.
So that is why we're starting with 2 hours. We're not even trying to do it for like one entire day. So two
Right.
hours is all it takes. So
Mhm.
start with 2 hours a day. So let's say 3 to 5 every single day. I will not speak a harsh word to anybody. No matter what the situation is, I will try to deal with it calmly. Now, when you do
Right.
it like a 3 to 5 every single day, it becomes a small task. Then it from 3 hours, from 2 hours, without us knowing it, it becomes 4. it becomes 6, and then it becomes a way of life. So we have to do, like I said, continuous practice, consistent practice, and smaller practices. So let's, like I said, arise. That is one thing that we can do. Respond. Do not react. Apart from that, like you were mentioning, loneliness with women, particularly pertaining to women. Uh, and this I say out of experience for my own self, Sanjana. Uh, a lot of women in this pandemic time have had to, change their careers, or, they've gone on sabbaticals, etc. Um, my humble submission to everybody is that, look at it as a period of opportunity. Look at it as a period of re engineering. No work or no opportunity is small enough, right? So look at opportunities that surround you. What is it that you can do probably sitting at home? Is it a smaller business that you can do? Is there a study that you would like to do? Is there something that you can do to upscale your skills? So do not say no to a situation. Do not say no to an opportunity. Keep looking. Keep reinventing yourself. Is there a new language that you can probably learn? Because if you do that, probably that will open up, some sort of opportunities for you in later. So do not be close to changes. Do not be close to learning anything new, and do not be close to saying yes to anything. For example, I can say that out of experience, I never say no to anything in life. By that, I mean any opportunity, anything, I just take it on.
No, I think that's a huge big tip for many of us, that one should only, you know, take any opportunity which comes your way and not say no to it. I think because later on you don't know how that opportunity is going to be good for you. Very true. I think that's a
And if nothing else, it gives us a learning.
yes, absolutely.
It at least tells you what not to do. If it doesn't,
Very true.
even if it tells you what, if you can't figure out what to do with it, you will figure out what not to do in the next time. And a lot of times, I have seen that in professional as well as personal life, Sanjana. Women, as well as everybody around us, we hold on to things. We hold on to things which are way past their, expiry date. They could be a professional relationship, it could be a personal relationship, it could be an emotion. Like, for example, you may believe that you're still loyal or to this particular cause or this particular person. You still believe in a lot of things because you don't want to accept the otherwise. So just like it's important to know what opportunities to take, it is also extremely important to understand what to let go. जाने दीजिए. Organically चीजें अपने आप settle होंगी. Whether it's a relationship. Sorry, you were saying something.
No, I'm saying now you've confused me because there you don't say no to any opportunity, and then you're saying at times you have to let go. How
Let
how
go of
can
what is, sorry.
how can you keep between the two?
So when I say don't let go of an opportunity, anything that new comes your way will typically excite you. You'd want to try it out.
Of
Anything
course.
that is way past its expiry date will drain you. You
Wow.
will have to make that extra effort to be able to even sustain it. So if there is
Right.
anything that is draining you out, if you have to, kind of push yourself towards doing it, I think it's time for you to go back to the arise formula: acceptance and reflection.
Right.
Is there something that we can do? Yeah.
Again, you've mentioned positivity and positive thinking. You know, when one is caught in a situation where one is very detached from positive thinking, how can one, you know, bring oneself into the realm of positive thinking? Because when you're caught up in your negative thoughts, you know, it's like a whirlpool where you are getting sucked deeper and deeper. But then how can you overcome that?
So that's a very valid viewpoint, Sanjana, because practice तो हम तभी करेंगे जब वो first impetus आएगा, right?
Right.
So how to get that impetus? Um, so while everybody kind of says that you have to develop a positive thinking from inside, I also feel that I also have a slightly different take on it. I always
Mhm.
feel that the first stimuli should always be external, right? So for you to be able to imbibe them, for us to be able to kind of build a practice of them, it's very important to have to be open to positive stimuli from outside sources. So for example, if we feel that at any point in time we have a lack of positivity around us,
Mhm.
uh, there are two three things. Number one, are there any books that we can read, possibly? If we're
Right.
not into book reading so much, are there any positive thoughts that we can listen to either on YouTube or podcast, etc.? Because subconsciously, what you keep listening is what you kind of start thinking also. Look around you. Is there a person you really look up to, who you think epitomizes or does this positivity practice a lot?
Mhm.
Observe them, see how is it that they are dealing with the situation. Or if you are at a stage where let's say a lot of times you're an elderly and you think that everybody else around me is much younger, think of
Mhm.
your parents. How would they have dealt with it? Think
Oh,
about your mother, because for us our first references are always our parents, right? And a lot of our interactions and a lot of our thought processes come from how we have grown up. So,
sure.
like, I always go back to think what my father would have done in a similar situation.
Mhm.
So, so when you try and imagine yourself in their shoes, you also kind of develop that thought process. So, that is another way. Apart from that, what one can do is write, let's say, for example, keep a gratitude journal to begin with. What are the things that I am thankful for in my life? You know, two things every single day. Make that a practice for 30 days.
How interesting.
Simple. Just
Why
two things a day.
why are we not told about something like this, in a daily normal course of life, that you maintain a gratitude journal? I think many our lives would actually be transformed if we start counting those small blessings. And especially right now when, we've been through a difficult phase. I mean, the whole world has gone through it. So, okay, that's something very interesting. Maybe we can start a group where we can just post these what we are grateful for and share with each other. I think
I think that's a great idea, Sanjana. And it just has to be one or two things a day, because the moment somebody tells you write a journal, we think कि बैठ के बहुत लिखना पड़ेगा. नहीं, two lines.
and since WhatsApp, I mean,
Yeah.
I think we this would be something where, like you said, and then we are sharing what each other, what the other person is grateful for, and then we can reflect upon that. Great.
I can share, like, for example, I can very quickly share what I am thankful for today. We've had, in our extended family, we've had a child who's quite seriously unwell. Today, I'm just thankful
Sorry.
for the fact, yeah, today I was, just thinking about it. And today, I'm just thankful that even with all the COVID scenario, I'm just thankful for the fact that my children are home, and they're healthy. So
Right, right.
just one thing, but, it
Yes.
just means the world to me right now. It does not matter that they're
Mhm.
not going to school. It does not matter that they have missed out on 2 years of education. It does not matter right now to me that, they have missed out, let's say, on 2 years with friends. Right now, I'm
Mhm.
just very happy that they're sitting in front of their computer screens. I'm actually very thankful for that. That's a
Yes.
gratitude. On a regular day,
Right.
I would be cribbing about it, that why are they always on a computer screen? Today, I'm just very happy and gratitude. I have full of, I'm grateful to God that they're sitting and doing that. So just these little
Right.
things. So a gratitude journal works wonders, because the moment you know that you have to write two things that you're thankful for in this present day, you automatically start a positive habit. Apart from that, one little thing that every all of us can do, and please don't think that you're mad to be doing this. Sit in front of a with a mirror or without a mirror, just smile to yourself for 5 to 7 minutes. That's it. And keep saying nice things to your own self. I'm nice, I'm beautiful, I look amazing, I'm not lonely. That's it. And those
Wow.
5 to 10 minutes of good self talk, you don't need anybody else to boost your confidence. Like I said, encourage yourself. The E from arise, encourage yourself. The moment you encourage yourself, the moment you step out of the room, you will have enough energy to encourage everyone around you.
Wow. I mean, I think you've shared with us a very powerful mantra in Arise. And Viksha, I think we are very grateful for you to do so because, it instantly brings in so many different factors of, which will encourage one to veer towards the positive rather than the negative. And self-love, as they say, it's one of the most important.
Biggest form of love. Yeah.
And especially now that we are past Valentine's Day, I mean, self-love
Yes.
for the next 364 days, I think.
That's true. That's true.
You mentioned children and them being at home. Tell me, as a mother and also as a psychologist, how has it been for children to be at home for these 2 years, missing school, missing, interacting with friends? I mean, I know you said you're grateful that they are sitting in front of the computer, but tell us, what do you feel the children are going through? Because sometimes it's very difficult for us to comprehend, what they are thinking and feeling.
Right. Like you rightly mentioned, Sanjana, it has been tough even for children. And you and me, we were just having a chat the other day when I mentioned that we have, as adults, been so caught up, on our with our own selves, that we have actually forgotten to kind of, even, uh, look at children from that perspective. We have been so caught up with our own problems. Uh, that children's problems have kind of sometimes gone in the back track, apart from the fact that they're always on a screen or something. We've kind of just put it on the back burner, that they will go back to the normal when it happens. Fortunately, children are much more resilient. They bounce back much easy, in much faster manner than adults. But yes, that does not take away the fact that there have been issues with them. The major issues that we have been seeing is, one very big thing is that children have forgotten the art of social interactions, um,
Very true.
because they have been so cooped up in houses and with adults, wherein adults were also kind of catering to all their whims and fancies at any given moment. They have forgotten what social etiquettes are, what social interactions are to be like. That is one thing. Even in school, children have are finding it difficult to concentrate. Children are finding it difficult to focus on studies. Children are finding it very difficult to, unfortunately, use, school tools, because how it is that they're learning on a screen. And screen may, you're always on a split screen. For most children, I have seen that. राइट सो वो क्लास अलग चल रही होती है, वो आपका कुछ एक स्क्रीन पे कुछ और चल रहा होता है. सो देयर इज नो फोकस, देयर इज नो कंसंट्रेशन, एंड देयर इज एंड यू जस्ट टेक अ स्क्रीनशॉट. So just the idea that you have to look up on a board and write down, they have forgotten how to kind of comprehend that. So those are issues that children are facing a lot. Children are a lot of children are finding it very tough to even write, the ones who are younger, because they've never gone to school, they've never kind of gotten into the habit of practicing how to write. So these are the basics, and apart from that, I think one of the major issues that schools are going to be facing now is going to be conflict, because, like I said, children have forgotten social interactions. They have also forgotten that they have to adjust in a world, because they have been so cocooned in a shell that they don't know how to deal with the outside world. They don't know what to do if somebody does not agree to their viewpoint. So schools have already started, and a lot of them have already started complaining. And we are assuming, as psychologists, as researchers, we are assuming that the issues of conflict will arise a lot in schools, between teachers and students, between students themselves, and it is going to be a ripple effect of the pandemic, which is going to show up very soon. uh, Fortunately, a lot of us, are already working towards it. Like at TAG, we have already launched a peer mediation program for schools, wherein we pick up children from school and we handhold them and we mentor them and we train them as mediators to help resolve their conflicts by themselves, right? And this is done under the guided leadership of a teacher, and to be handheld by probably with us or everything like that. So programs like this are
Mm-hmm.
extremely important in schools.
Right.
Children need to relearn the art of living. I think that is what is important right now, because we've just kind of forgotten. And it is not their fault, right? Like I said, it's not. So we as adults, as parents, as teachers, and as a society have to be very, very patient with them. If you see a child who's kind of, turned around and snapped at you at a mall, while it's of course nice to kind of tell him that this is not acceptable, let us also be mindful of the fact that it can be done patiently and in a positive manner, rather than just telling the child off, because they've had to deal with their set of anxieties and their issues as well. So
Right.
like I said, we as a community have to come back together again and help them transition. We have to help them get from that online to offline world. We have to tell them that the offline world or the non-virtual world is as safe and as beautiful as their virtual screens. So that is one thing that I feel that we need to do as a community, and handhold children and help them. And we as adults have to be patient. There is no other solution to that, apart from of course the little ones, like we can tell our children to do positive thinking. We can also like the tricks I told, they can also start by that. Please allow your children to now go out, meet their friends, have social interactions. Allow them to go to school if you can, if the school is taking proper conditions, protocols of COVID. If all of that is being done, I would suggest to let the children back into the normal environment slowly and steadily, because that is the only way they can learn. You only learn how to swim when you get into the water, right?
Very
Even if you don't learn any other way. No matter how many videos you see, no matter how many even if you dip your foot, it does not matter unless you deep dive. Unless you dive, that's the only way you learn how to swim, or you that's the only way how you learn to ride a bicycle, is when you actually do it. तो वो गिरेंगे, संभलेंगे, उठेंगे, पर वही तरीका है. Our
and
job is to just be patient.
yes, patient and be there to reassure them that this is how it happens, and there is a way out of this situation. Yeah. Um, like when I was introducing you, I said you're doing a research on at IIT Delhi on
Yeah.
understanding meditation psychology and meditation practices based on the Dharma Shastra. Please tell us a little bit more about that.
Thank you, Sanjana. So you were right in the first go. It's not meditation, it's actually mediation psychology.
God,
Uh,
sorry.
no, that's completely all right.
So sorry.
No, no, you got that right in the first go.
I apologize for that.
No, that's
Okay.
completely understandable, because, like I said, meditation is the more buzzword than mediation. But I
Right.
think it's also time to make mediation the buzzword, resolution of conflict. Mediation is just resolution of conflict, whether
Mm.
it's internal, whether it's professional, whether it's with a third party, or, whatever it is. So that is what we're doing. Dharma Shastra again is a set of, ancient books, Shastra, like you said. It's a set of rules that have been laid down by a lot of authors who have upheld the concept of dharma. Now, dharma in Indian, philosophy is understood very differently, and it's not religion. Dharma is
Mm,
anything that sustains. धर्म क्या है? धर्म
okay.
वो है जो आपको अपहोल्ड करता है. Dharma is a set of rules which upholds a person, which upholds a society, which upholds a community. It has got nothing to do with rituals. It has got nothing to do with religion as we understand. So
Mm-hmm.
that is dharma, and the Dharma Shastra are a set of books, rules, texts, whatever you call it, to understand how, let's say, a mediator should practice, or how a society should function, or how, let's say, king or a leadership should practice to uphold a harmonious society. So what we're going to be doing is that, we're going to go back and delve again into the Dharma Shastra. And so all of this knowledge has been lost to translation and to time. So we have to go
Mm-hmm.
back, and there are about 1,000 books of Dharma Shastra which existed, out of which now only about 400 to 500 original manuscripts are now available. And they aren't even original. So of course, we only have, so much of it has been lost. So whatever is now, left of it, we're trying to go back to it and understand the Dharma Shastra from that perspective, and what is it that we can pick up from there and apply to the modern era, and that has global acceptability, so that it brings our knowledge to a world map as well.
So you mean to say that, whatever we are undergoing or facing today is something, a situation like that has existed in the past? Is that what you're saying?
Uh, Well, of course, every situation, if you go by the Indian philosophical way, they say that, there is something called the Kal Chakra. So everything that has happened, that is happening now, that has happened at some time before, and it will happen sometime in the future as well. You and me may not be around to witness it, is another question. But we all will have to go through that cycle. So yes, we are trying to, take out, sutras or rules or textbook laws, etc., that have existed, and that we can apply to modern mediators, that we can apply to modern leaders, that we can apply to modern states and modern governments, to
Mm-hmm.
create a just society, to create a society which is, inclusive of all, and which can bring about a harmonious relationship amongst all of us, coexisting together. And that is how dharma in itself is defined in Indian scriptures.
Wow. Maybe we can have a session on this where you explain in depth about, how, I mean, once you've done a bit more research on about this mediation, and how in the past what has been mentioned and
Yes,
how it is applicable to us in today's day and age.
of course,
And we
anytime. This is our platform.
Great. Thank you for that. Anviksha, you're also a certified art therapist.
Yes.
Why is, I mean, art as a therapy, why is that a form of healing or counseling? Why art?
Uh, the biggest, plus point of art therapy, Sanjana, is that it is very self-dependent, right? So let's say, for example, a counseling or a therapy, it's a two-way process where you're sitting with a counselor, you're sitting with a therapist, right? And you're having a kind of a conversation. Fortunately, to undergo art therapy, you don't really need a therapist all the time,
Right.
so you kind of vent your emotions, you went out whatever you're feeling on a piece of paper or through colors or whatever, and it's a big release, and you have nobody else to, depend on for this. You are only dependent on your own self, and at a time when you feel like it. Sometimes, let's say, what happens is that you have a therapist appointment at 4 to 5. I may not particularly be feeling chatty at that point in time. right? Or I may be
Mm-hmm.
just coming through a bad day from that point in time. I may probably need that hour to cool down before I actually talk to somebody.
Right.
So, so art therapy in that manner, or even music therapy for that matter, wherein, you kind of, it is self-induced therapy, wherein you don't need an external, person to take you through the process. Once you've understood how it can, benefit you, or what are the process that you can do it for yourself, you can do it for your own self. You can do it at a time it suits you, and you can do it within medium
Right.
that appeals to you the most. So
Okay.
I think that is one of the biggest advantages of these alternate therapies that are coming up now. Uh, Interestingly, because since we just mentioned it, there is an ongoing research in IIT which is on using mantras as a form of meditate of therapy. So
Right.
it will be out soon. Very it'll it's already in the publication stage. So
Right.
yeah. So they're combining mantras with music, and how it becomes like a form of therapy. So so these are all alternate forms of therapy which go away from the conventional way of going to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, sitting in a place, and having a conversation, or CBT, or doing all of that. We are just looking at it's like you as a person are self-reliant, so we
Right.
try to bring that for yourself. You should not have to go to another person all the time. This is tool that you should be having at your disposal every single time you need help.
Right. Um, when we were discussing, you mentioned that in the union budget
Yeah.
2022, there's been a special allocation for mental well-being
Hmm.
for the first time. Please give us more
Yes.
details, and why has the government decided to allocate this money and resource to mental well-being?
Thank you for that question, Sanjana. And I am so glad you brought that up because I really wanted to send this message out to everyone. So this is for the first time, I would say, in the history of Indian whatever budgetary sessions, that we have had a great impetus on mental health. And I would say, for whatever it's worth, it was kind of a residual decision after the pandemic. uh, the government realized that there was, an increase in mental health issues, uh, domestic violence, and a lot of other things, which were happening because of the stressors and anxiety that were being caused by the, pandemic. The only thing was that the pandemic brought it to the forefront.
Mm-hmm.
Mental health. Mental health has become such a big word that, in fact, that is the reason why the government also decided that it needs to recognize it
Right.
as a form that needs help. So like, you have help if you're dealing with cancer, you have help if you're dealing with some sort of other physical ailment. As a government, they realize that why not mental health? Because a lot of problems in our lives are manifestations of the mental health issues that we have. So I would like to actually, I would say it's a great step for whatever it's worth. To begin with, they are, giving money to set up wellness centers,
Right.
in which mental health has to be an integral part. So
Right.
now, going forward, abhi tak to aisa hota raha hai that mental health has been like one small department
That's
in
true.
whatever hospitals, and it has never been like a big thing ever. Even in Delhi, if you see, you only have 2 3 institutes of repute who
Mm-hmm.
actually cater to that.
Mm-hmm.
So now going forward, number one, you all the institutions or wellness centers have to have a mental health wing, or which is substantial. Apart from that, all the psychologists, etc., and all the courses, etc., are being streamlined. So psychologists are being given certifications by RCI. If you're a clinical psychologist, you can't just go about. It did happen in the profession that the demand and so, because probably also because of the demand and supply, anybody could start practicing as a therapist or as a clinical psychologist, which ideally you should not. So that is being streamlined. streamlined, that is now going to be governed by the laws, which is a good thing, I feel. Also, they're going to be increasing a lot of, institutions which train you to be psychologists and therapists. As of now, we only have two to three in
Right.
the entire country, which is one is CPI Ranchi, Nimhans Bangalore, and one or two in the south,
Right.
which actually, take it up as a course of study.
Mm-hmm.
But now they are going to be doing that. So those centers are going to increase. And apart from that, they are going to be all India about 23 telemedicine helplines that are
Oh.
going to start. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to be free of cost. They are going to be monitored by NIMHANS in Bangalore, which is an institute of eminent repute that has been recognized by the government of India. And as the head of NIMHANS, she said very recently that treating mental health is no longer a luxury; it's a necessity.
Absolutely. Yes.
So she's absolutely right to say that we're also in the middle of a mental health crisis and a mental health pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So that is going to be there. So there are going to be 23 telemedicine helplines that are going to be free of cost for anybody who wants to, pick up the call and talk anonymously, right? And they're going to be manned by trained professionals, and they're going to be all under the purview of the government of India. And of course, there are going to be grants, etc., that keep coming up. So I'm just glad that forever it's worth, although these steps seem very small, but it's a start
Right.
and it's a recognition. And I always say that if a government can recognize mental health as so important, what is stopping us? What is stopping you and me from going out there and talking about it?
Right.
So
I mean,
it's time to normalize it.
right. I mean, there's always been a stigma attached with
Yes.
mental illness and about mental well-being. Why are we seeing such a, explosion of mental illness?
The biggest reason for it, Sanjana, is exactly what you said, the stigma. It is not that mental health conditions would not have existed a few
Right.
years back, let's say 15 years back or 20 years back.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is that it could never come to the forefront.
Right.
It could not, people, number one, could not recognize because there was no awareness. People did not recognize the fact that, a lot of your physical ailments could be because of a mental health condition that you have. I remember even when I was young, uh, there were only two mental health things. या तो कोई व्यक्ति पागल है या कोई mentally retarded है. So by the way, we are not allowed to even use those words now
Mm.
in our fraternity. But I remember as a child, those were the only two things
Right.
that you heard of. There was no talk of, and there was no awareness, and no recognition of anxiety. There was no recognition of anger as an issue. There was no recognition of depression as a problem. So I think that is the reason everything was kind of swept under the carpet or whatever, because people did not recognize. And even if they did, there was no talk about it because there was so much stigma. So if there was a person in depression, and if a mother came out and confessed that my child is depressed, they would say, "Iska beta to pagal hai." Or
Mm-hmm.
if a mother came out and said, "Ki arey, my child is somewhere on the autism spectrum," that child would be, labeled, so to say, as a mentally retarded person, whereas that's not true at all. A
Right.
lot of, children with who are not so high on the autism spectrum do pretty well in life.
Right.
So, yes, so I think that was one of the biggest reasons people didn't talk about it. Now, with more awareness, now with more recognition, I think people are now talking about it a lot more. And I think that is why we feel that, there is an outburst of mental ailments. That is one reason. Apart from that, another reason I feel, that have been scientifically researched also is, like I said, a breakdown in communities, right? So we had been so used to just, living with our own selves and with two, three people around us
Mm-hmm.
that, after a point, there was a breakdown in joint systems, in joint family systems. There was a breakdown of, communities. There was a, so you had like, singular living. You were living in apartments. You went to an office. You came back. You were in an apartment. You didn't know who to talk to. So all of these factors combined together also kind of gave a push to your own mental health ailments, etc., something which could have probably been tackled if you were, let's say, living uh, in a society, or if we were more communicative to each other as people. Like I said, that this the pandemic brought to the forefront that as a community we need to, when we come together as a community, there's so much we can fight. So
Sure.
that was another reason. Apart from that, cultural migration, by the way, has come out as a very big reason for mental ailments.
Okay.
So,
One
yes,
would never think about that actually.
yes. So there
So,
are research papers and studies all over the world which has said that very rapid cultural migration without kind of getting used to it, and without kind of getting accommodating to that entire scenario, also leads to these issues.
okay. So, I
Yeah.
mean, there is actually a more awareness and more acceptance, and that's
Yes.
why there
Yes.
seems to be, a lot more mental illness
Absolutely.
around us. And like any other illness, I guess you need to treat it when you are afflicted, and there should be no shame or stigma attached to it at all. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Anviksha, for your reassuring session. That's what I would like to say. That it's good to know that there is somebody out there to hold our hand. And this idea of the gratitude journal, I think I'm going to make a group, and we'll see how many people we can reach out to. And I think that's a fabulous idea. And each one of us has something to be grateful for each day, and that will just encourage us to become more positive in our lookout and in our attitude towards life. So thank you once again. I'll just look at the chat box and see the questions. Sona
Thank you,
Baby
Sanjana.
says, super idea, easy to implement. I think this was to do with Arise. General
Arise. Yeah.
Murgai says, positive affirmations set in positivity. We should practice positive affirmations. And recent research has proved that meditation increases release of dopamine by 42%.
Yes, that's true. I'm not sure about the 42, but yes, it does release this thing.
Right. And I mean, he wrote meditation on not mediation.
Yes, he did. I see that. Yes, interchangeable.
Right. Parents have forgotten teaching good sanskar to their children. That's debatable, General Murgai. I think that's another session waiting, lurking in there somewhere. Devani says, please post the full form of Arise. It's an excellent way to work with stress that we have created for ourselves. And General Murgai has said, Arise is acceptance, reflect, interact, share, encourage.
So
Is
interact,
meditation a
involve.
prayer of, sorry?
Sorry. So
Would you like to
interact.
repeat that, Anviksha? What is Arise?
Yes, arise stands for acceptance, accept, reflect, involve, share, and
Involve.
encourage.
Okay. So involve and share and encourage. Um, I do not understand what that part is. Sonia Mehta, please post Anviksha's contact details. So Anviksha, if you'd like to do that. Can we call meditation self-therapy?
Yes, absolutely.
Right. Um, Great session from Meena Dua, and you have shared your number. So Sonia, please take down the number. Anybody else would like to ask any questions or say something? Please unmute yourself.
And please feel free to also give us a feedback. And I hope I was able to add some value to your platform and to your day, Sanjana.
Of
Um,
course, Arise and the gratitude journal. I mean, come on. Surely. So, I'm going to thank you very much, Anviksha, for being part of ZoomIn 86 once again. And we look forward to learning more about what your research paper is on. And I mean, perhaps in 6 months' time or a year's time, when you have more information about it, we'd love to have you back on.
Absolutely.
Uh, and
Absolutely.
if not on ZoomIn, on another platform, but definitely listening to what you have to say. And on that happy note, I would like to thank everybody for joining in this evening, and we look forward to seeing you next time. I hope you will join the Gratitude Journal WhatsApp group once that's set up. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.